Hello and welcome back to Smashing the Sudoku, our series where we look at some of our earliest puzzles and try to demystify the steps to solve them. I'm Thomas Snyder, and we always appreciate getting your viewer questions at Ask Dr. Sudoku, that's ads at gmpuzzles.com. And today's viewer question comes from Ernie E, who asks, what do I think is the secret sauce of GM puzzles? The secret sauce is a kind of funny coinage, and I don't know where, we're trying to view ourselves as a ketchup company or anything else. We're really not a commodities company. There's not a magic number of varieties for us. I mean, I guess if you're looking for a special number for today, you can think about, what a ketchup company would count as a special number. But variety is part of our secret sauce. And it's not that there's a prescription for it. If there is something to say about it, it's that these puzzles are sufficiently different, but they're also sufficiently interesting. And that second one is maybe the harder one to understand. There are lots of styles we will never feature here because they may not have the depth after 5 or 10 puzzles to have a lot of new things behind them. And for sure, they're not things that we see that handcrafted designs could bring artistic or visually elegant designs towards. Like we have a lot to the look and feel of a puzzle, and so for different reasons, we don't have a lot of styles that we'll put here, but we have this whole large list. You'll say, well, what are you excluding? You have 30 plus variants here. We're excluding certain things for certain reasons, but we're always like exploring the realm of new rules and saying which kinds of rules have a good opportunity sphere of content. And for sure, if there is a secret sauce to Grandmaster Puzzles, it's our team of designers who are constantly innovating and exploring in these spaces. We've got designers who are good at writing easier puzzles and harder puzzles and loop path puzzles or shading puzzles or even combinations of these puzzles. But across them, we're really pushing each other with new ideas to kind of keep that mix fresh and interesting. And so that we don't sort of look like, I guess we have published 113 classic Sudoku over our history here. We're not only a classic Sudoku company, and we're not like even our classic Sudoku look better and solve better than I think most of the styles you'll easily find out there. Certainly any computer generated puzzle. And that's where, we've got some curious things too. Like this week is a look of a very classic puzzle style in battleships that comes from Argentina. And then the battleship kind of game becoming a hybrid of Sudoku in my first book, Battleship Sudoku, which is not, a style we do as often now. It has too many rules, I think, to have the clean elegance of these other things. But so really, in my early puzzle history, was the first example of me figuring out how even in a new genre, there were hundreds of good themes to bring handcrafted elegance towards. And so maybe someday we'll revisit this book. But today for Fleet Week, we'll at least be revisiting these two puzzles. A puzzle that one of the few that comes from South America that's in our standard suite, and another which is a hybrid that uses the standard battleship rules but combined with numbers to be a very different sort of style. So we'll get started here, I guess, with the battleships puzzle. And the first thing I always note in some of these puzzles, uh, admittedly, this is one I wrote before, so I'm going to be like sort of preaching the choir a bit here, is not just the clues that are given, but the clues that aren't given, and the missing columns and missing rows in some of these clues are going to be as important as some of the ones given. For sure, there's a tension where the third and eighth column in this grid have to have a lot of ships behind them, and I see 3, this is 10, so there are 10 more ship segments in the third and eighth columns. Again, there are 20 total ship segments in a battleship's fleet. That's a knowledge bomb if you don't already know it for this style. The rows have 2, 7, 11, this is 13, but these given clues, 1, 2, 3, 4, are in spots that are unclued. So actually 17 ships are accounted for, and there are 3 more to put in the unclued rows in this puzzle. So those are some things to note at the start. In a lot of these puzzles, you want to look at the most constrained or potentially constrained spaces, and I guess I'm seeing something interesting across this 4 row, that I have 1, 2, 3 ships I can place on the far left that don't interact with any ship clue, but I've got these 3 cells and I have to use at least one of them, these are marked in dots, that interact with a square. And if I actually had a horizontal ship placement here, I would have to mark all of these off, and that would make this 4 clue impossible. So instead of having a horizontal placement, this must be a vertical ship. Let me cancel these spots. The vertical ship actually completes most of the 7th and 9th columns. So we got to put 2 ships up here, and that actually intersects with this row clue. And we actually now have 2 submarines for sure up top. Looking around the grid, we didn't resolve with those vertical clues anymore. Over here we still have, it looks like 2 more vertical ship segments to go. What we have done though is we've now forced in this rightmost column, notice it's isolated and it has 1 ship segment, so another submarine goes in here. And this is probably where I was getting a little cute in this puzzle. Let's see if it's true. Yep, I have a rhyming logic. So in some cases in my puzzles, you'll learn something through an early step. In this case, 2 vertical ships leads to 2 submarines. I think I want you to see that if you had a vertical ship in that 3rd column, you get 2 submarines here, and that now doesn't work with this 5th submarine. So at this stage, we actually can put in a horizontal ship in this other square. And that now completes the 2nd and 4th columns clues. And it now actually looks, I was saying how these unclued rows would get a pretty clear count. We needed 3 more ships in them. These were 2 added in black, and this looks like a 3rd added in black. So let's just count and check that. That's 2, 6, 8, 11, 15, 15 and 2 and 1 is 18 and 20 is, yep. We have a full count, so everything that's still unclued is now a C, so that the remaining numbers add up to the right set. That marks off so much of the grid. I only have 1 space left for the battleship and 1 space left for a 2-cell ship. Sorry, a 3-shell ship, the last 3-cell ship. It also now marks off this 1st column for the last submarine. So I really just have 2 unit ships to place now. And those look like they go into these columns, so I can mark this off. And they're going to want to be horizontal, but they're not going to be horizontal with this 2 clue. So they're here and here, and that marks off these positions. Says there's a submarine up top, and I'll mark this off here, and there's a submarine down below. And that's the end for this Bermuda Quadrangle puzzle, but a good example of counts, a good example of the rhyming clues. The 2 subs up top don't get repeated over here, but you learned a piece of logic at the start that you used later on to get to the deductions you needed to see. So moving to this battleship Sudoku, and I know there are a lot of rules to think through here, but one of the key ones is that all the given numbers are C's. And another one, particularly when I handcraft these, is to think about the fleet. And so is there anything interesting as I look at this fleet? Well, first, it only has numbers up through 6. And the only way I get to the number 6 is with submarines. So I can probably put attention to the grid. Here it is. Here's a row that's got a count of 6. And so it will always have a 6 submarine, and then it has to have 5 other ship segments to work out for it. So let's see how we make that work. First, I will just mark in the ships I know a little further. I've got this 0 row, I've got this 0 row. So we might as well come back to the 6. And so we said that one key thing was thinking, how do we get a 6 submarine somewhere in the space? And remember noting that we're seeing that 6 doesn't sit in larger numbers. Like a 6 can't be here or here. So we have these 2 6s. A 6 is always in this cell. 6 is in one of these cells, and a 6 is again not in these ship segments that have 2 or more ship pieces together, so a 6 is over here. So where is a 6 submarine? 6 submarine has to be off on its own right here, so we put that in. That now forces actually the battleship at the bottom of this puzzle. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. The 4 here says it's not 2 to the left, so it's 2 from the right. And we need 1 to finish this last position, and the only 2-cell ship uses a 1, has 1, 2 sort of going through it. So these ships are all placed. This column is now finished, so we've got some good start here. Let's do some more Sudoku in the bottom. We have to get a 7 in this row. We have to get an 8 in this row. This 7, 8 is actually a naked single for a 9. This 4 coming down gets placed. That puts in a 3, 9. Across the center, I've got 2 4s. I've got 2 8s. I've got a 2 that's got to come in here. Got a 1 coming here. I have 1, 2, 5. So let's look at this. I have a 2 or 3 unit ship but none of them have 5 in them anymore. Oh, I should mark that off. Can any of them have 1? The only one ship is now a 3-unit ship, and it can't be the center of a 3-unit ship. So this is forced by ship segments to be this 2. It needs to have a number next to it. Notice that all the options are 3. Actually, this isn't an option. So 2 of 3 alone, or 1, 2, 3 as a set work. This is 3. Notice 1 is not coming here, 1 is coming here. So this is just 2, 3. So this is now also placed. What do I want to do from that? Let's just place some more 2s in the grid. This is a 2 by Sudoku. This is a 2 by Sudoku. I think all the 2s are now in the grid, and we have 2 2s and ships left. So let's do this, and now let's think through those. These 2s are in the center or the edges of 3 unit ships. This looks like it's got to be a vertical 3-unit ship, and it has a 1 in it, so this for sure is 1, 2, 3, so this 8 goes away. This 3 goes like this. This is now 2, 3, 4, and this is the edge of the ship, so it's got to go down 2, 3, 4 like so. And we can mark these off, mark these off. That makes this the 4, 3. Mark that off. The 2 row is done. The 3 row is nowhere near done. This 2 column is not done. I think that will finish the space. So these are the remaining subs. This is 5, 6, and 5. Last spot for 9. I got a 1 coming in here, a 3's coming in here. 7's eliminate to this cell. 5's coming across, eliminate to that cell. I got a 9 with a 3. Just a 1. This has to be a 4. This is a 4. This is now 3, 8. That 3 coming above. There it is. 1, 3, 8. It gives me 3, 9. This 1 now works over here, but this 3 is eliminated. So 3 is coming there. This is 1, 9. Leaves behind a 3. This 3 puts 3 over 1. Puts 1 in this position. This is 9. This is 7. Top of this column is another 7. Top of this column is a 1. This is 5, 8, 9. We don't have any of those. This is 8, 9. And this is 4, 7. This is 7, 9 in that order. That puts a 9 up top in these cells. That now eliminates this cell to just be the 9 in the 3rd row in the middle box. These 2 8s up above eliminate now that this has to be an 8 here. This 8 with a 6 and a 5. The 6 has to come to the top. That steers the 9 in, puts a 9, 8, 5, puts in 5, puts in 1, puts in 1. Got a 5 and a 7 and a 7 and a 4. So we're through Fleet Week. Hopefully you enjoyed the challenges of these different puzzles. Again, this Battleship Sudoku is a interesting hybrid, but with creative use of the numbers in the fleet, you really can get these outside clues giving you a lot of thinking. And I think the special part of this puzzle was really the 6-row match to this fleet as a way to crack the whole bottom 187, 695, 432 row. So thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you again soon.